Hello, and welcome back to the Survivor Now podcast. My name is Randy, and today I am joined by the always amazing Oli. Oli, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm doing
Oh,
good. I'm always doing good, especially when we're talking about Survivor UK. I'm
I was
always
going to
good.
say, I don't think I've ever seen you in a bad mood, so I should have already known the answer to that question. Oh, not yet.
See
Oh,
me
man.
really early in the morning, then maybe.
It's kind of early for me right now. It's 9 o'clock in the morning, but I'll just say we picked the right episode to do on a holiday that is just made for Americans. But I will say happy Thanksgiving to everyone who's watching who celebrates. So let's get enough of that. Let's get into Survivor UK. We got kind of a quick episode today. Not Ollie's fault. It's my fault because it is an American holiday. And Ollie, I also told him on last night's recap episode that the whole reason it got pushed back to today was because of me. So they can blame me and stuff. So, Ollie, I just want to ask before we actually dive into these episodes. It's been a couple weeks since I've been able to be on the show, but I have been watching along, obviously. What did we think about the two episodes this weekend? Because you messaged me this past weekend before I saw the episodes and said, hey, if you haven't seen them, they're pretty good ones. So I'm interested. I'll give my take in a second. What do you think of this weekend's episodes?
I kind of mentioned this on last week's. I feel like 5 and 6 were what we needed to kind of push the kind of UK show. But these last two episodes, I think, really kind of brought the drama and also brought a really big sense of strategy. Because obviously, we'll talk about it. We saw blindsides. We saw some really good kind of gameplay. And we saw some fights, which we always love. And when I watched that, I was like, that was such a British fight as well. But we'll get into it.
I was gonna say you're gonna have to show me what a British fight is. You gotta get me in on that.
I'm a lover, not a fighter.
But I actually like the episode. So Survivor UK this season so far has been very watered down Survivor, which I'm okay with. One, because it's new. And I don't want every Survivor rendition to be the exact same thing. I want it to be new. I get what they're doing. They're trying to introduce people to the game, so I'm not really bothered by that. But I agree, this past weekend, it just felt like the strategy finally took off. I think it's been a pretty straightforward season in the sense of we're going to stay strong, keep the strong, get rid of the weak. And I believe this week we actually started to see alliances form. Yeah. And that's what I needed. I needed just show us the lines at camp. Show us who's working with who. Where I think so far it has been just kind of everyone's working together to vote off a common person.
Yeah, I feel like these last two episodes, we've really got to see kind of the essence of Survivor. And it wasn't just because I feel like the last few episodes have kind of been like the weak shall go. And we've seen, like, super fans of the show know that is not the case all the time. And I didn't want that just to be the precedent. And I'm glad to see these last two episodes, we haven't seen that. We've seen strategy and we've seen it. This person's gone because of the threat they are, not because of their perceived weakness. And I'm going to use those air quotes. There's been no weakness.
Oh, and we're going to get into that and how karma can strike back in an incredible way. You guys can join into the live chat. We like to call it our ancient voices, or maybe I might be the only one who likes to call it that. But go ahead and join in that chat. If you do enjoy our videos, like, share the channel, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Ollie, you would be very proud of me. I have became a tea fan. So like the past 3 weeks, I actually collect mugs and I've never used them, but I've been drinking like hot tea every day for like the past 2 weeks. It's a thing, like helps my vocal cords, like helps, I don't know, helps clear me up. So I was like, I instantly thought of you. I'm like, Ollie's going to be like a proud little parent.
I'm such a proud dad.
So we start on day 16. Basically, Lanina is coming back. Hannah is shocked that Ren was just voted out. By the way, you can check out Ren's exit interview. Oli did an incredible job filling in. Oh my gosh, incredible. You can also check out the interviews of the castaways who got eliminated this week. Go check it out on our website and on the YouTube page and Spotify. Yes. But Hannah is shocked. But what really stuck out to me here for Lanina is we see Matthew Tanuke and Leilani are staying Calaton strong. They still have Tribal Alliance in their thoughts. And that makes sense for Matthew and Tanuke. You know, they were sent over by Nathan and Jess to kind of figure out the situation when they had to swap tribes. I'm a little shocked that Leilani is staying Calaton strong because this is something we saw completely different in Survivor Australia when Jerry got sent over. Sorry, I should have said spoiler alert, but it's been a while. When Jerry got sent over, he instantly was like, you know what? Screw that tribe. They voted me out. And Leilani genuinely doesn't look like she feels hurt at all by getting sent over. And that's shocking because she was the target. It should be writing on the wall for Leilani that people just disposed of you.
I feel like that has to be a credit to Tanuke and Matt's social game. The fact that Leilani was not bitter. But I think also Leilani's very perceptive, and I've always credited her as having a good social game. And I think she saw that, look, Tanuke and Matthew want to work with me, so I might as well work with them, as opposed to people like Lee, people like people like Ashley,
people like Lee,
people like Lee, people like Ashley, people even like Christopher, who, even though they're trying to show, you can kind of see that there is still a divide there. So I think it is a credit to Leilani that, you know, she's been able to see, like, right, I can't just get rid of these people because clearly if I go on that side, I am not in the top positions. So I think that's why she's doing it.
I was going to ask, that was kind of my next question is Leilani playing a strong social game to this point? Because we've seen how she struggles in challenges, and she still has, you know, alliance members who have her back per se. Or is this just Leilani playing more of a lazy type game, just kind of following the crowd and not making her own moves?
I don't think it's lazy, because I think she has been perceptive enough to kind of know what's going on. I think it can be perceived lazy by some people because it's, oh, she's just going with what she knows. But also she was the first person to have the benefit of seeing both tribes' dynamics. She's able to see what's gone on there and see who she kind of fits with and who is best to go for her game. So I think it is her doing a very good social game, but that's just me.
We'll just have to wait and see. Spoiler alert, she did survive both episodes. So, I mean, as much shit as I can talk about Leilani, if I bring any shit talk into this, it's like she's still in the game and she's almost played the entirety of the US version of the game. So next up, we go to Calaton. Doug and Pegleg are seen helping out. This is a big talking point. So I don't know how many people forgot about it. Doug's idol has expired.
Yeah.
And at the time when they introduced the idol to the game and it was only good for 3 tribals, I was like, okay, that's fine. That's cool. I like that Survivor UK is introducing idols. This was a problem I had because I feel like this is a major dud now. As you try to introduce people into the game, the idol's already expired after 3 tribals. It never got played. So I feel like people who are watching for the first time, you know, when they hear about the idol, oh my God, this could be overpowering. This is really cool. And then it just kind of leaves the game. And now it could leave a sour meh in people's stomachs. Ollie, what do you think about this? I just thought it was a very disappointing way for it to leave.
Yeah, I think, because in my mind, when I saw it was good for 3 tribals, I thought, okay, so the 3 tribals he attends. That was my thinking of it. So I think when it was just 3 tribals in general, I was kind of sat there going, oh. Because again, you have that thing of, it then becomes null and void if, like, what happened, he didn't attend 3 tribals. So he found that idol and then didn't really need it, except for one where he was actually there. So I think the big thing with it, when Survivor UK has a second season, I think if they want to do that and have a limited idol, they have to kind of specify and they have the idol for free tribals that they go to. Because free tribals in general, again, there's that loophole of you might not even go to tribal and then you have this idol that's worthless because you haven't even gone to tribal and haven't had to need it. So I think that's maybe the kind of tweaking that would be more beneficial.
Yeah, I think it would have just been super cool just for people to see the idol played. I don't know what's going to happen the rest of the season. I don't know if someone's going to find another idol, play it later down the road. It's definitely possible. But my mindset went straight to worst case scenario. And I was like, man, if that's the only idol this season and it didn't get played, it would have been much more exciting for fans to be able to see that idol play.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But again, we still have the merge. Idols could be found.
Ollie is here and being like, Randy, calm down. It's all good. It's all good.
The reason.
We also start to see the strategy that takes place this episode really play out. And this is going to be a big thing that I feel like we're going to talk about most of the first part of this podcast is what's going on between the Calaton members. We see Shy and Lawrence start talking about taking out Jess and flipping and going with Doug and Pegleg. And this is always a Survivor strategy that makes me shake my head and go, why? But I understand it. At the same time, we talked about it in the podcast yesterday about Survivor US is there's always someone on the bottom and you need to understand if you're on the bottom, and Shy and Lawrence have been on the bottom since day one. We saw them in like episode 2 where the Calaton members were saying there's like a core 6 and then there's Shy and Lawrence. So props to them for realizing the situation. But it's like this situation where you have Nathan and Jess to vote with, and they choose to take the riskier path here. And we'll get into the elimination a little bit later, but we saw this train of thought start coming out. Should we work with Pegleg and Doug? Ollie, when this first started appearing on the screen, were you shocked? Were you like, this is the right move for them 1,000%?
I wasn't shocked at all because, again, I feel like Shy has been very perceptive, knowing that he's on the bottom and he's been fighting. And the one thing that's kept him safe is his physical prowess. Do I think it was a smart move? Flipping, yes. But what we'll get into was what Shy wanted to do afterwards, moving forward. I think that's where he went wrong. But for him, for Shy and Lawrence, knowing that if they were to go with Nathan and Jess, and reunite with Calaton, they weren't going to be high. So for that reason, yes, it was good on Shy because Shy was like, right, here's the chance to turn my game around. Here's the chance for me to actually have some sort of power. So for that, I'm like, yes, Shy, like perfect move. It's what he did afterwards that we'll get into that I'm a bit like, maybe that's where he went wrong.
Are Shy and Lawrence, and we might talk about this a little bit later on as well. Are they getting a villain edit for Survivor UK right now? And obviously it didn't work out the next episode for one of those members. So I'm speaking more about Lawrence, but are they getting a villain's like edit? Because Shy said in his exit interview, they painted me like the villain. So if I come back, I'm just going to play into that villain a little more.
Yeah, I'd say more so Shy. Not really Lawrence. I think Shy, I don't want to necessarily say he got a villain edit. He just got a target edit.
Kind of similar. That's good, yes.
He got a target edit similar to Bruce in the US version.
Yes.
Constant target. And I feel like that was the thing that Shy couldn't shake. It was the fact that he always had a target no matter what. And that kind of, yes, that will put him as a villain. I feel like maybe more episode 8, he was more villainous. But I feel like we're seeing more definitive villains than Shy.
Ooh, especially in episode. Do you want to name drop anyone? Lee?
No, we will discuss it later because I will be bringing it up again.
Keep them wanting more. See, now I can join Ollie on the tea train. I don't know how you're drinking it. Mine is still super hot, Ollie. I can't. I gotta
I'm used to drinking it, so
yeah, maybe I'll get used to it over time. We get to the reward challenge. I am so happy when we see reward challenges in Survivor UK because they actually still do rewards and not terrible stuff. We got to see so this challenge is basically there's a picture of it right next to Ollie where they are holding up the discs and they are competing for Indian takeout. I'm just gonna put it out there. What'd you say?
It was so British. What do you win? An Indian takeaway.
I also thought that, but I've actually never had Indian food. That's a shocking fact about myself. Ollie, how good is it? Put us into that.
I will say Indian is not my favorite. I am a Chinese takeaway person. I love a good Chinese takeaway, but Indian is still very good. And I don't know what it's just become such a British staple. Like if people want takeaway, it is either British, it is either Chinese, pizza, or Indian.
So if they say Chinese takeaway next episode, Ollie's just gonna throw his hands up and be like,
I'd be like Jess with the chalky milk. Like, yes.
Jess was freaking out about the chocolate milk. It honestly looked good. I don't know what all the dishes were. There was one chicken marsala, I think is what it's
tikka masala.
Tikka masala. My bad. Yeah, that's dumb American showing right here. I've never had it, and it looked really good. So I was definitely sitting there with the castaways. I'm like, ooh, I'd like that reward. And I don't know. I have a feeling that it's a good reward to have when you're out there surviving. There's some protein there. It's not just a bowl of candy or something like that.
Yeah.
But we do see Calaton really struggles in this one. There was a few moments we see Nathan get frustrated with Jess when she drops. It comes down to Lawrence and Pegleg, and I feel like Lanena won this pretty easily. I say pretty easily, but they were up there for an hour and at least an hour and 10 minutes is what I have.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. I will give credit to Calaton at the start where Shy and Nathan dropped that middle one
immediately. Yeah.
I think that was smart. I think it was where they put people because I think this is the thing. When you do that challenge, it's your shoulders that are going to kill. And what you need to be able to do with that challenge is being able to kind of just counteract each other. So like what Tanuke and Lee were doing, which was pushing the disc back and forward, they were keeping movement in their shoulder so it didn't stiff. Like the second that your shoulder like seizes up, they were going to be screwed because you had to kind of keep that shoulder moving in order to kind of have some sort of relax. Even going up and then down, that was fine with it. I also think having Jess in the middle.
Yeah.
I think you should have put Jess on the end with Nathan in the middle and then Doug where Shy was. Because even though you've got two big guys who have very strong shoulders, and you'd think like, oh, they'll seize up quite quickly. No, if they know what to do, like what Tanuke and Lee were doing, they'd be fine.
It's I also noted the fact that Jess was in the middle, and I instantly was like, this is a wise choice. Like, this is a questionable choice is actually what I wanted to say. But, I was just like, okay, let's see how this strategy works out. I'm just saying right now, I don't know about you, Ollie. I don't know if I'd be eating Indian takeout because I would suck at that challenge. I don't think I would be lasting an hour and 10 minutes.
Again, it depends. I think it depends on who you're next to and who you can work off. So I'd never say never for myself. I'll give myself
season two, do the same challenge. I want to see how far Ollie gets in. We also get this funny moment where Jess talks about the rice and beans. She has a confessional about how they are just stuck with rice and beans and she can't stand to eat any more of it. I don't know. The beans kind of look good to me. I don't know why. I'm not out there eating it every day, but I was like, rice and beans kind of sounds nice.
That's the thing. Like, we don't know. Like, I love rice. Whether I go on the show and then I can understand the struggle, I don't know. But I see the rice and I'm like, oh, lovely.
Definitely
I don't mind it.
unseasoned,
Yeah,
which kind of probably sucks a little bit.
yeah,
Let's hop over to Lanina, and I'm not going to talk about them enjoying the Indian food, although we got like this wonderful montage. I was like, this is like almost like an ad for Indian food. It just looks so good. But this is where Christopher proposes throwing the challenge to get rid of a Calaton member, either Tanuke, Matthew, or Lalani. I am never a fan of throwing challenges.
No.
Never. I never think it's the right move. I understand when it's a numbers game, but like it's too risky in my mind. Survivor is a game where anything can happen. A vote can flip like that. And if I ever threw a challenge and then ended up going home, I would literally hate myself.
Yeah.
Ollie, walk us through what was going through your mind here, because Christopher isn't telling all his alliance either. He's just speaking with Ashley about throwing it, and that leaves Lee and Hannah out of kind of the conversations. And we'll get into his attempt to throw it, and I have a lot to say about that.
Attempt?
Performance? Should I say performance? Is that the right word to be using?
Yeah, theatrics. I think here's the thing. When he was talking about throwing the challenge, I was like, okay, because I understand the logic. Would I ever throw a challenge? Only if absolutely dire necessary.
What is dire necessary?
Like if I needed to ensure that someone went home, then die. Like absolutely,
like a Brandon Hant situation or something like that.
Yeah, but it has to be done subtly. And I'm using that keyword, and it has to be done right. And I do think everyone in your alliance that you want on board has to be aware of it, and they all have to agree to it. If I had, say it was me, you, Matthew, and Teg, and we wanted to get rid of Abe, obviously. I would need to talk to you four, and if say I agreed, you agreed, Teg agreed, but Matthew didn't, I wouldn't do it. Because I'd want all four on board, and I'd literally say, right then, we're not throwing it. I just wanted to pass the idea to everyone. But I'm just saying, if we lose, maybe go for this person. But if all four of you agreed, I'd be like, right, we see the challenge. Let's see how we can throw it. But I am not doing it I'm not just telling you, I have to tell everyone. And we have to figure out a way to do it.
Well, let's get right into the challenge then, because so the immunity challenge, it's you got to go out into a cage, you got to get pieces, you got to bring them back. We've seen this before. This puzzle, you have to build like an arc that says immunity. This is one of the worst. I literally put in my notes, Chris is in all caps, obviously not trying. This is one of the Chris, you're a singer. You're in the you have
I'm not throwing.
Are you gonna do the cartwheel? Ollie, are you gonna do the cartwheel?
That's what it was.
Oh, you didn't hear me. I was gonna say, Ollie, are you gonna do the cartwheel?
No, not in this room. God, no.
Chris, you're in the entertainment industry. You have to put on a show, make them think you're not trying. I'm shocked nobody said anything. Maybe we just didn't see them say it. Because if he's trying to throw the challenge and I see that, I'm literally looking at him and I'm like, guys, this is what you want on the tribe right now. Fine, let's throw it and let's get him out if he really wants to lose so bad.
It was that. It was the putting the goggles on for me. It was the cartwheeling for me. It was the I can't spell for me. I was like, but didn't you 2 episodes ago just spell out immunity on that thing? I think you do. That was the issue.
Joel when he looks over and he was like, and Chris is he's got the goggles on. Like, I just feel like
this is the thing. If you know that the host is watching, as soon as you hear the host call you out, that should be a hint to be like, oh, even the host can tell I'm doing something stupid. Maybe I need to calm down. But
At one
no.
point, he just laid down. He just walked over and just laid down.
He was like, "Oh, my back hurts." I was like, in the middle of a challenge. I was like, no. I was like, because I think we even saw I think Lee, you saw Lee make eyes. I think it was Matthew as well. I think everyone kind of clocked onto what was going on. So I mean, if you didn't, then you need to sort your eyes out. You need to go to the eye doctor.
And that should have been fuel for Calaton to go on and win the challenge, but they could not figure out this pattern. I think they had it built like 3 times. And I'm sitting here like, if I'm Chris and I am really trying to throw the challenge, I'm just going to go over there and help you out. I'm just going to put the pieces in the. That would have been iconic if he walked over to Calaton and started.
That would have been us going, right, and now let's hear from the 6th person voted out, Christopher. That's what it would have been. But this is what. So I also have to say this: we finally had a puzzle.
Yeah,
and this is why. This is why, and I agree with Ren. This is why we needed puzzles, because it's the great equalizer. Because you had them 6 over there at Calaton who literally were being given immunity on a silver platter. And we're like, I can't figure out the puzzle. But that's what I mean. Puzzles are always the equalizer. So
I love how they solved it. And the W and the M pieces were like this.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, I think we got it. I'm like,
we got it. No, there's a big gap.
The difference between Joel and Jeff Probst really showed here as well, because I don't even want to think about what Jeff Probst would be doing if Chris just lays on the ground and I'm not throwing.
Jeff would have called him out so quick.
I think it would have been really entertaining, but we also get a super close finish here. Lanina do end up winning the challenge, and we're not done with the Chris trying to throw, because that comes in next episode, and when he decides to tell some people about that. But let's get on to our strategy time before Tribal Council. So Shai and Lawrence are really feeling like they want to flip. And then they do this, I think, in an excellent way. They bring up the fact to Nathan to make Nathan believe that they are still together. We're going to throw out Jess's name as a pawn. And Nathan's like, oh my gosh, this makes sense. This sends Jess through a loop, which I agree with 1,000%. You should never want your name up in any discussions. You want people keeping your mother effing name out of their mother effing mouths. But so she is trying to say, I don't like this. I don't want my name being brought up. And then Jess does an excellent move here. And she goes to Doug and Pegleg and says, you know what? Why don't we just vote out Shai? Yep. He's going to compete with you in individual immunity challenges when we get to that point. I thought that was an excellent move by Jess. That is the right move. Don't sit around. If you have a feeling in your gut, act on it and try to make something happen. And I got to applaud Jess. That's exactly what she was trying to do.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. I feel like it was good strategy from both parts, because I think this is where we saw how good of a strategist Shai was, because he was able to. He wanted to go for Jess, and he was like, right, how can we deflect from us wanting to make a move? Let's just say Jess is the pawn. And we'll just say that that's the name we say to them, so that then when it comes down to it, she's already expecting 2 votes. So then the other 2 would just be a big shock for her. But again, Jess being very protective, she's like, no, I don't want my name out there. Why am I going to sit here and say, yes, I want my name out there? And I think you could tell that she was like, no, I don't trust this. I don't trust Shai and Lawrence. She was like, why are we allowing them to say that I'm the name? No. So when she went to Doug and Pegleg, I was like, good on her. I just wish she mentioned about challenges and just say, if I'm the one to go, you're going to have a really unbalanced team, which we see what happens in episode 8. I actually just realized I said we have a really unbalanced team, and I was like, ha. I made a joke and I didn't even clock it. Thank you. But like, this is the thing with Jess. Had she said like, "Here is what I can offer to keep the tribe balanced," and I know I'm making all these jokes, which make sense in episode 8, but Jess can
Stop it, Ollie.
I'm literally doing it so unintentionally. But if Jess is able to showcase what she brings that can balance out everyone, then it proves to stop it. It will help kind of Doug, who is a very good player, know, okay, we kind of need her in this situation because it will help us be a well-rounded tribe. But unfortunately, she couldn't. And that's what I wish she did. Instead of just going to, I don't trust Shy, I don't trust Lawrence, because I feel like all that did was make Doug and Peg go, here's the crack. We just need to be in the middle and we're sorted. And them also knowing that Shy and Lawrence are at the bottom, why not pick them up? Because if you want to weaken Calaton, you go for someone from that other side. So I feel like if she went from a challenge perspective, I feel like things could have been better for her.
I think it's really sorry, my mic sounded, you can still hear me okay? Yeah. So I did a lot of back and forth and everything. I think it's very interesting that both tribes are wanting to stay Calaton strong, Lenina strong, and yet we see Rengo and then we saw Jesco this episode. There's a lot of in tribal moves, which is very interesting to see play out. Usually everyone should know this about me. When it comes to tribal council, I usually zone out. I don't know what it is. I just don't really pay attention to what they're saying. I'm like, let's just get to the vote. And I need to. I'm trying to start paying attention because I know there's a lot of good stuff that is said at tribal council. But I picked up a couple lines here. This is the first time that we see Joel speak on the merge and how it is looming. So that kind of gives insight to the players that, oh, it's coming up. Next couple tribal councils, it's going to be the merge. Shy says, and I quote, everyone's a threat.
Yep.
And this is when I think Nathan should have dinged. I don't know. Now, tribals are usually like hours long. So, this stuff can be said all the time. Plus, you're tired. Not everything hits. But I will say, ding, ding, ding. I can't remember what the question was that was asked. I think it was like, are you focused on threats or just going with the numbers? And I'm pretty sure like Shy responds with, well, everyone's a threat. That to me would have been a sign. Okay, he's really playing and he might not be going with what I think the plan is. Pegleg says, and I quote, I just like this line. No one can trust anyone.
Yep.
That's ding, ding, ding. Number 2. No one can trust anyone. And then I put Lawrence says, and I quote, building new relationships.
That's what I had on my notes. As soon as Lawrence hinted that would have been my, like, no matter what, if I'd missed any other cues, that would have been for me if I was Jess or Nathan to go, why are you worrying about new relationships though?
Exactly. Why
if you're wanting to say if you're wanting to stay with the 4, why are you talking about a new relationship? Because I feel like Lawrence made it abundantly clear what he was doing. And so, because I've noticed this about Lawrence, he does sometimes not know how to be inconspicuous with what he's saying. And I feel like it was that moment I was like, he has not been inconspicuous in the slightest. He has kind of basically said like, yeah, tribe strong, but also there's Doug and Peg that I might want to work with. And I'd sit there and I'd be like, what? If you've basically said to Jess and Nathan like it's a done deal, one of them two's going.
Oh, they should have turned to Lawrence and been like, what new relationships are you building? I just noticed we looked at each other. I was thinking that. Hello. What's up? No, but Jess does end up going home here. I think another thing I took note of is Nathan voted Doug here, which I know people are like, yeah, so what? But I think that was interesting because if you're going to vote someone, I get his thought process. He thought everyone was going to vote Doug. That gets a big threat out of the game. But it did kind of get brought up whether to vote Doug or Pegleg. And I agreed with the side where Doug, I think, is someone that you could work with, you could pull in. I don't think you can pull Pegleg in. I don't think Pegleg is someone, I don't think he's as easy to work with as Doug is. So I thought that was the wrong decision. Plus, you're leaving a massive target in the game and someone who could be looked at as more of a challenge beast than you are come post-merge.
Yeah. And I'd also say with Pegleg is a very he's got his own mind, and I don't think he is as adaptable as Doug is in the sense of willingness to work with people. I think he's an adaptable player. Oh, I mean, we've seen it these last 2 episodes. Like, he's been able to kind of adapt to the situation and survive. But I think when it comes to his allies, he does have loyalty. But I feel like there is a loyalty, and then there's a line. And he's like, I'm going to make sure you know that there is some distrust there, and here's my hierarchy. I feel like he does sometimes showcase that, which is what I think spooks people as to why they would rather vote for Pegleg over Doug. But I was just sad to see Jess go.
I was just about to ask before we take our ad break, before going to the other episode, what'd you take away from Jess's game? Jess is such like a positive person, and she just got on a season where it's been all about strength. Yeah.
But also
got caught up.
Credit to her, because she was holding them blocks up more than anyone else.
Oh, yeah. Everyone else had already dropped. And she's like, guys, I've been standing here for a while. Like,
yeah. I give so much credit to Jess, because I will admit, I wrote her off at the beginning, because I think when I saw the first 2 episodes, it was, I'm just hearing her perspective as a narrator. And then as the season went on, we saw her grow as a player. And that's what I love to see, because not only did we get to see Jess the person, we got to see Jess the player. And when you're able to see both sides of the coin, you fall in love with that person. So I loved Jess. I warmed to her. And I'm now interested to see who's actually going to be like the narrator of the season now that the person with the second most confessionals is out.
Oh, Oli always bringing the confessional count. I love it. Doing research, putting in the hours. Well, if you thought episode 7 was good, we got some stuff for you about episode 8. We will be right back to talk all about it.
What's up, guys? I'm Todd Herzog, the winner of Survivor China, and I want to welcome you to Todd's Pop Shop. Here, me and my husband Jess, we custom make Funko Pops. We'll make literally anybody or anything you could imagine. But being that we're here listening to the Survivor Now podcast, I'm assuming you're all Survivor fans. So take a look at these. Some custom Funkos of your favorite Survivor winners, Sandra and Yule. Or how about Big Brother fans? Suri Goddess herself playing the game of Big Brother. You can also get her in Survivor form. Or maybe yourself with your favorite buff and a torch playing the game. But even better, get yourself with your favorite player like Nora here with Ozzy. And since you're listening to the Survivor Now podcast, if you mention this ad, you will get $10 off your first order and free shipping. All season long, Survivor 45 should be a good one. Mention this ad, $10 off and free shipping. I'll be watching too, still a diehard fan to this day. Hit me up on Instagram, Todd's Pop Shop, or toddspopshop@gmail.com, or on Facebook, and I will see you soon.
Not me posting in the wrong chat.
Well, now I feel terrible for your boyfriend, because that's such a good season. Did he hate me? Like, does he hate me?
No. So last week, no, he doesn't. Last week and kind of the week before, we were watching Cook Islands, and I'd made sure not to spoil it. He had no idea, and then that ad came up, and he was like, "I know who wins." I was like, "Oh no,
no!" That I feel terrible.
Rob.
Yeah. That chat. That's from Oli. It was supposed to be in the private.
I'm still learning, guys. Appreciate it.
Well, I love it. Let's get to day 18. There's a lot of I think this was my favorite episode of the season, and we're going to get into the emotional aspect. Oh, all right, we'll discuss it. We'll discuss. One, I just love that we're on day 18, and I'm like, holy cow! There's how many people were left in the game? Like
12.
11, 12. This is what a nice Survivor feels like. Survivor season. Because if you guys don't know, if you're new to watching Survivor, Survivor US goes 26 days now. Used to be 39. In the US game, they would almost be done. They would have literally 8 days left. Yeah. So this is nice that they're only on day 18, and we still have a lot of the game to go. We wake up with Lanena. Lalani is on the beach. She's missing family. She's kind of giving us a rundown, and she delivers one of my favorite all-time Survivor lines. I can't remember exactly all she says, but I got the main one. She goes, she gets asked how she's doing. Ollie, remind me who asked her. I just need to know who asked her.
I think it was, I can't remember if it was production or Chris. There was a scene with Chris and then a scene with production.
I think it was Chris. Yeah. Yeah. I think it was Chris walks up and asked, how are you doing? And she goes, oh, I'm tired. I'm hungry. I'm sexually frustrated. And yes, I loved it. I was like, holy cow. What?
It was the honesty. It was the honesty.
I absolutely loved that. I was like, oh my gosh, that's what we need. We need pure honesty. That's one of my, I put 2 laughing emojis. Yeah. I feel like that's exactly how I would be out on the island.
I was going to say, we have seen it plenty time of showmancers occurring. So at least she was honest.
Someone hit up my girl, Leilani. Absolutely loved it. On Calaton, Nathan is feeling frustrated with how the vote went for obvious reasons. But let's get to the main talking point about this episode, and that was the bottles that washed up. What do you think at first? Did you know they were loved ones' letters? I didn't know what to expect at first. I couldn't remember exactly the next time on Survivor whether they showed it or not.
No, they didn't. They mentioned in kind of on BBC iPlayer it has things. It has like little descriptions, and they mentioned that if something gets washed up. I think it was really cute. I really enjoyed the emotional aspect. The Survivor in me.
Too early?
And no. The Survivor in me, and I know that other Survivor, because I've listened to other podcasts.
Traitor.
I'm kidding. I've been on it. And kind of the UK fan base of like proper, like people that were invested in Survivor beforehand have all kind of said, where was the reward to gain them? That was my only thing. I was like, I wish it wasn't just handed to them. But I saw the Britishness in it of, okay, we're halfway. Here's the letters from home to keep you going. No, you earned them. You earned them. So that was the only gripe I had. But overall, it was nice to see, because it was basically 20 minutes of seeing the human side of people, and people that I feel like we needed to see the human side, because I feel like we've seen other sides that can be very polarizing, but then we kind of got to hear more backstories of people, and it made me look at people and go, oh, okay, that's your struggle. I relate to you in this way. I appreciate you more. Lee.
Yeah, it's so yeah, I thought a couple things. I did see someone put on Twitter how they said loved ones letters pre-merge ? I was okay with it. It didn't really bother me that it was pre-merge. Like, I know some people are like, that's something you need to earn later on in the game. Get the challenge aspect. But that is interesting, because I haven't heard that take where it's like, where was the challenge to compete? Yeah. This is what I loved about it. And I think this is the right way to do it. And I think this is why it's going to go down as one of my favorite like emotional moments, and one of my favorite like loved ones moments. And that is every single castaway got to read their letter and tell their story. That is my production. If it needs to take one episode for us to get that, yes, because I feel like this season, one of my biggest gripes on it has been we're not getting enough strategy. We're not getting enough Survivor. It's like I said this earlier, very bare bones. It's like, I'll show you a little bit of camp. All right, now we have a reward challenge.
Yeah.
I'll show you a little bit of camp. Now we have an immunity challenge. I'll show you a little bit of camp. Now we have tribal council. There hasn't been a lot of depth in terms of like strategy and seeing these players and actually learning about these players. Whereas in other renditions of the show where they've been on longer, they have more experience running it, producers, editors, all that stuff. You know the people. By episode 4 and 5, you have someone you're really cheering for and you feel that connection. And like when they get voted out, you're devastated. I'll just use I'm gonna quick spoiler for season 45. Tune out for 2 seconds. When not this week, Ollie, last week. When Kelly went home, I was devastated because I really enjoyed Kelly as a person. Whereas this season, I feel like we needed to understand people more. And you said it best, Ollie. Just the fact that everyone got to share their story. I love that. I wrote it in all caps with applause. Every castaway got it. Because usually we just see the main people get to share it, and then we don't get to hear from others.
Yeah.
There's a greater understanding now. We can connect to more. And the big, strong, bruteful guys, they get to show a more delicate side of themselves. Like Lee and Nathan. Nathan actually got me. That's where I started crying, when Nathan was talking about his kids.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you can tell that man is, and I'm not saying anyone else isn't. I'm saying Nathan was just the one that got me. You can tell that man is a true father, and his kids are everything to him. I actually got scared for a second. I said, Nathan, you better not be leaving the show or something. But we got to see the emotion. I put best part of the season for me, Ollie. I know I don't know if it was the best part of the season for you thus far, but this was just such a beautiful moment. And it's the first time that and this is bad to say as a Survivor fanatic and stuff, it's the first time that I genuinely had my phone put to the side and I was just listening to every word on every letter, where I feel like a lot of times in these loved one moments, like I'm kind of sitting there like, oh, that's nice. Like I put my phone down because I just thought it was the producers, the editing team did such a great job on it.
No, I think they did a really good job. And again, to say that, I'm not saying it was bad, because just because I felt like they needed a challenge doesn't mean I think it wasn't sweet. I really appreciated Leilani's letter. Like Leilani's moment, I thought was really emotional. It did make me a bit emotional. I am a very hard exterior person, so that was good for them. I really appreciated Lee's backstory because it showed his vulnerability, and it kind of showed why he is not the way he is, but why he is very strong-willed because of all the hardship he's had to face.
That line. Oh, sorry to.
No, you go.
I was just going to add to that and say that line did break me, where he says, I've lost his mother, I believe. I've lost my mother. I've lost he said someone else as well.
Yeah. My brain's can't remember now.
Was his brother? I can't remember.
Yes,
he said,
I want to say yes. He lost. I think he lost a sibling.
Yeah. He said, Lee, apologies if we're not getting the family members right. But it was like, I lost my mother. I lost my brother. I will not lose her. I just went, oh my God. He's been through a lot of shit. Yeah.
And that made me actually really respect Lee. And it made me go, okay, I'm actually going to not that I haven't. I know the first 2 episodes, I was very critical of what he done. I'll hold my hands up and say that. I still feel like I've been fair, but this episode made me kind of look back and go, okay, it makes sense. Now let me kind of see what happens moving forward. Because I think even the rest of this episode, I think everything that was going on was every time I saw Lee and heard his opinion, I was like, yeah, no, I agree. And yeah, Nathan, I thought that was really emotional. I just liked seeing that everyone got a confessional, because we've said this, that they will sometimes heavily edit one person, which they have done this season, but we still got to see everyone this time, which I enjoyed. We got to see everyone's reactions in a confessional as well, which I appreciated.
Speaking about family, my brother's in the chat just tuning in. He doesn't watch Survivor, but happy Thanksgiving. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you very much. So yeah, I thought it was, I'm so happy you pulled up that moment because Lee, it does give a bigger understanding. And that's why all of the analysts at Survivor now, not to give us a quick show shout out, but like, yes, we are very critical of people, but we never do it with like, we still, our heart's there for them. We never do it in a disrespectful way or anything like that. Even though we were like, Lee, like, stop showing off and stuff like that. It was never out of hate. And I say that because if you're watching Survivor, these castaways get a lot of hate online. They're real people and they've gone through stuff that aren't shown in a super small edit. So if you ever have to criticize someone, do it with love, but never do it out of like a hate for a person other than a few people in the Survivor history books.
But I would like to add on to that. We don't criticize if there's any criticism, it's the player, not the person. Because I am a very big person of those are two completely different people.
Yes.
And also, if anyone does leave hate on anyone's comments, I will report them because I've seen a couple of people leave nasty comments on other people's, Lee's being one of them, and I've reported them because I'm like, no, the UK fan base is not going to be toxic. If you're going to leave that hate, I'm going to report it. I don't care if everyone's like, I'll deal with it, it's fine. No hate.
Yeah. And if we lost a viewer because of that, good. This isn't the show for you. Moving on, we do get this is really I thought this was a great episode all around. This is when Christopher decides, okay, I think it's of my best interest to tell my alliance. Man, this has been a common thing between Survivor US and Survivor UK, telling alliance members something at the wrong time. Because I was just going to say Survivor 45, another small spoiler, but when they decided to tell Katurah about the idol. Yeah, I'm not going to spoil this week's episode. I promise. But no, right decision or wrong decision?
Oh, no.
Like, I'm not talking about what ended up happening. Like, in the moment, just the thought of, I need to inform my alliance I was trying to throw. Because my reaction would have been, no, really? I definitely did not notice that.
Not the wrong decision, the wrong execution and delivery. And I'm going to say this now. I love the fact we have just talked about not hating people and we're about to talk about a fight. The irony. But I will say, I feel like there was, for both of them anyway, with this fight, there was things that both did wrong. In the sense of Lee's, yes, it was good to come clean. I think how he went about it was wrong. And I think how he kind of then combated with Lee was wrong. Now, do I think, I will say
Lee got very hostile. I'll say.
Yes. And that's where I say Lee was wrong. I will say this now, Lee did not need to shout. The fact he got that loud, I will say this, if I was in Christopher's position and that's how someone did it to me, straight away I'd be like, no. I'd be like, first of all, if we're having this conversation, do not raise your voice at me. Because I will read you up, down, left, right, front, back, and side. Just don't. But also I'm like, there's no need to get that hostile. So I think in that instance, like, Lee didn't need to get that loud. But yes, very much.
Red flag.
But at the same time, everything Lee said, the merit was there. And I was sitting there and I was like, okay, you have a point. Are you saying it in the right way? No. But you have many a point. A valid point at that. And I'm sat there going, at the end of the day, Chris can't be mad because Lee's saying the facts.
I think it's this argument, this fight, whatever you want to call it, it just had hunger written all over it. Hunger and lack of sleep. Because a lot of times, everyone should know, you get hangry, and especially when you don't have sleep, the most smallest thing can just set you off. And I believe Lee, we forget Lee is a competitor. He's a boxer. they do not throw fights. That is the one thing you can that is like forbidden. Like we've heard about it before where like they bet against their opponent and then they like throw the fight. That is like a very, very, very shameful thing to do in the boxing community. I mean, sports in general. So I get where Lee is coming from, where it's like, we don't throw. We put our best foot forward. If we lose, we lose. But we don't throw. But I agree. I don't think he had to raise his voice. It was a simple, I don't agree with that. And I will never throw a challenge. And I think Christopher would have been like, I'm sorry. I won't do it again. I think that the thought of, I do need to let my alliance know about it was the right thought, but it would have been the right thought the previous episode when you were thinking about throwing the challenge, much like you said, Ollie, where it's like, I'm going to let everyone in my alliance know.
Yeah. And I think when Lee kind of raised his voice and got angry, it gave Christopher all the ammo he needed to be kind of, because this is, for me, this is where Chris became the villain. Because we saw Chris's confessional where he talks about it and he's doing this arm thing. He's going, I'm Lee, I'm this. First of all, I was waiting for a rendition of Poor Unfortunate Souls from The Little Mermaid. I was waiting, literally. I was waiting for Lee to start for Chris to start doing it. Sorry. So Chris, please, when you ever do this again, start singing that. But this is where I really saw, and I feel like we've seen it in these last two episodes. We've seen Christopher have, and I say it as a very performative game. He's playing a very performative strategic game, which is that he wants to be bold, he wants to be big. Whereas you see other people like Doug, like Tanuke, who are playing a very subtle game. And to me, I think the reason that is because Chris wants to be the villain. Chris wants to be Chris wants to have kind of that arc, and the way to do that is having a performative strategy like that. And that's to me, because at that point, like I said, he was being the Disney villain. He was being
I can get behind Christopher being a villain. I am definitely down for that because I think he pulls it off well. I just feel like I love seeing villains on my screen again, and I think Survivor UK Season 1, if they ever do heroes versus villains, because that is a proven successful season, so far they are making some incredible villains that I would love to see come back and play again. Let's get to the immunity challenge. We don't have to spend too long on this because it is a blowout, and the guys from Calaton said they knew. I thought this was funny. We saw Shai say the last episode, or it might have been early on in this episode. Look, it was early on when Nathan was frustrated. Look, we're good. We won't win a challenge. As long as it's not balanced, we're good. And then they get to a balance challenge, and they get destroyed. Ollie, were you doing an evil laugh? Were you loving this? Was the revenge of Jess like coming through here?
Yes. I will say, I do just want to, because we saw I wanted to just quickly talk about the reactions, because I feel like this was the biggest thing, like the beforehand, because we saw Tanuke and Leilani have very big reactions.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I forgot about this. Yes.
Oh, no, it's fine. And you kind of saw everyone kind of doing damage, like open damage control. I think it was Shai and Doug were doing very big control. And then it was Lawrence. And there was one thing Lawrence said that I was a bit like, there was no need to bring it up because now you're making it a thing. I'm not going to mention it, but when Lawrence was talking, I was just like, Lawrence.
Now I'm following along.
Yeah. It was just not helping the case, and I was like, you just didn't need to say it. But I think
that's what this note that I had. I just have this note that said Leilani is pissed, and I was literally. I told Ollie beforehand. I watched this 4 episodes. Or 4 days ago, sorry. And so some things can leave my mind. So I'm like, hopefully my notes back me up. And I was looking at my notes and I just saw Leilani is pissed. And I was trying to remember. I'm like, why was she pissed? And I just thought maybe she fell in the challenge and that's why she was pissed. Yeah, now I remember. And yes, that situation that got brought up, we didn't need to talk about it. But honestly, this season, you look at Tegwith is very big on women get voted out very early on in the game of Survivor. How many of the first 7 castaways voted out or whatever have been women?
Or non-male?
All but 2? Or 3? you have Ren, non-binary, but yeah. Wait, 5?
Yep.
I couldn't tell if I said something and you were trying to
No, I
hide
was
your
like, I was giving you the hint. But
Yeah.
like and that's the thing. Like, Tanuke mentioned it. She was like, they're getting out all the women, and I think it's a very valid concern, because at the end of the day, if you're going to sit there and be like, no, there's no issue, I'm like, hold on, because everyone's also saying we need the strong, we need this, and then you're just voting one, like,
I don't think they understand yet, and maybe it's because it's just season number 1. There are some people who have never watched Survivor and stuff like that on the season. I don't think they're looking at it as there are other strengths. They're just thinking we need brute strength. But honestly, brute strength is not helping you out. We go back to that disc challenge. You
yeah,
all dropped, and there were still women
yeah,
on Lenina that was
yeah,
holding discs up. All the guys just
Mm.
got destroyed. You had an entire tribe of pretty strong men, especially Nathan, Doug, Shy. Then you have Lawrence and Pegleg. They aren't just
Mhm.
like weak or anything. So you have these like super strong men, casual Survivor people or casual just like competition people will look at that and be like, oh, those 5 guys, they're going to
Yeah,
demolish the competition. They got destroyed. This was the
yeah.
worst challenge of the season in terms of
But
competitiveness.
yeah, I will say also, because I'm not fully blaming them, because as well, I when I looked at when we look at the first lot of challenges, it was very like strength based,
Yeah.
which I think again, that's just a thing for kind of production. They just need to know to be more balanced in the future when they do season 2. Thank you. But back to this challenge. This is actually one of my favorite classics. When It Rains is one I love, because again, being a dancer, I feel like I'd have a lovely time with it. So I'm always here for it. But yeah, the blowout.
I love watching it. I feel like I would be terrible at it. I feel like it's got to be the most frustrating challenge Survivor has, because you're holding your hands. Sorry, you're holding it up, and then you move like this, and it just dumps. Like Nathan looked like he barely moved, and it just dumped on him.
Well,
Same
because
with
I
Doug.
think the thing is, I know that they have a little bit of wiggle room up there, but I think
A
what
little, yeah.
happened, what happened was he'd already maximized his wiggle room without realizing. So the second he took that off and went down, he was done. But again, who did we see powerhouse this challenge? Leilani. And she got told she was the weakest person out there. I'm like,
Yoga Queen.
because this is one thing that they had that the US and the other seasons haven't had. They had a little rope to keep them balanced
Oh,
for the first 2 minutes.
Yeah.
For the first 2 minutes, people held that. Straight away, Leilani was like, nope, I'm chilling.
Instantly.
Hand on hip.
And
As soon as I saw her let go of the rope and have her hand on her hip, I was like, Leilani is not losing this challenge. I was like, she's got something to prove.
we cannot forget the iconic line from Leilani. You know who's good at balance? Jess.
Guys, just saying, do you know who would have been good at balance? Jess. Oh, I was like, yes. I was like, that made me fall in love with Leilani as well.
Yes,
More because I
yes.
was like, she's not afraid to call it out. And I feel like she has literally been perceived kind of similar to Shy. Shy's been perceived as the universal target. She's been perceived as universally weak. She just bossed that challenge and proved it to everyone. And kind of went, oh, by the way, guys, you voted me out in the mock vote. You got rid of Jess. Here's where you could have had something. Like, I was like,
I think to Leilani, I think Lawrence and honestly Nathan, I hope Nathan can come back around and say, guys, I had nothing to do with the Jess vote. He's going to need to. He's going to have to meet back up with them.
I wanted him to.
He's going to need to, when they get merged, he needs to go to them and say, this is what happened. Lawrence and Shy flipped. I had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
And that's what he needs. He needs to call him out. I hope he does. Sometimes I love Nathan. I said early on in the season, he's my favorite castaway out there. I'm rooting for him, but I feel like at times he's a little bit too reserved in his gameplay and he needs to take charge more. And I'm concerned he won't. I'm concerned he'll get to the merge and he'll be like, well, I'm on my own. You don't have to be. You can go back to Tanuke and Matthew and Leilani, and that could be a really interesting 4 if he goes back. I think Lawrence could be the one in trouble, so we'll have to wait and see. So yes, Calaton going back to tribal council, the 5 guys. Nathan wants to get Shy out, which has been a common thing all season. He talks to Doug and Pegleg. Surprisingly, we see Doug and Pegleg contemplate flipping back and working with Nathan. This is interesting because most of the time, like Lawrence and Shy saved you. The whole reason you're still in the game, either one of you, is because they flipped. And Pegleg and Doug seem so, we have a decision to make. And this was really interesting to watch.
So you know how I said earlier that Shy made the correct move? It's what he did afterwards.
Yes.
This is it. Because what Shy wanted to do was basically, in that instance, he wanted to play the middle. He wanted to, obviously he was always going to go with those 4. He wanted to stick with that 4. But what he did, which made him look as sketchy as he was he wanted to basically then control what the minority were doing. He wanted to be able to he wanted to be the middleman and be able to call the shots in the majority and the minority, which is where everyone saw it. And because I think there was a really good scene of Pegleg watching Shy and Nathan in the bed. And then he goes straight to Nathan and goes, what was going on there? Oh, he's just trying to call the shots. Like, he's trying to tell me if we're all good in that. And they were like, right, he is trying to play the middle. And what that does is it makes us sit there and go, because if I was in anyone but Shy or Lawrence's shoes, I'd sit there and go, so who is he playing here? Like, is he actually going to stick to us 4, or is he flipping back to you? And that's where he caused distrust with him. So when I saw that happening, I was like, Shy, you're doing too much. And that's why I wasn't shocked when it was happening, because I was like, yes, Shy, you do want to prove your loyalty to them 4, and it makes sense, but you don't need to candor to these people so openly. And I think that was the issue they had.
It's a balancing act, and we've seen that Shy is not very good with balancing. So I had to get in on it. Were you shocked at tribal council though? Because I brought this up in the exit interview. Don't forget to go check that out, or those out, guys. I post our stuff on Instagram and I make the thumbnails for the videos and all that. I was already making the thumbnail with Nathan in it because I wrote in my notes. It's the very last note I took. I didn't take another note because I was so shocked my jaw was on the floor. I said, it's very obvious that Nathan is going home. I thought this was going to be kind of a lackluster ending. I thought it was like, I was thinking in my head, see a shot in the dark here would be nice because I just see Nathan having no shot. And then I'm currently making the thumbnail for the interview. And then I hear Shy and I look up and I'm like, okay, Shy, what? And then Shy again. And I was shocked. This was the first time all season I was shocked that Doug and Pegleg flipped on the 2 people who kept them in the game. And if I was Lawrence, I would look over and be like, are you fucking kidding me? Sorry, hard F.
You said a bad word.
I said a bad word. I have to put on the Spotify now that there's explicit content.
Yeah. No, I'm actually not shocked. Like I said before, because of what Shy was doing, it would freak anyone out. So I do think it was risky though of Doug and Pegleg, because it's kind of they've shown loyalty to no one. Like that with those 2 people that are now left, Nathan and Lawrence, they haven't really shown any loyalty. They've shown that they will vote against both of them. So I feel like that would be the worrying thing for them. I think Doug is smart enough to be able to damage control that, as long as because Pegleg, I'm not sure yet, but I know that there's Doug there at least to be able to kind of damage control. But again, they're now going into this next phase where they'll be reunited with the people that love them and want them to work with them. So we'll see what happens there.
It is merge time. This is where the game gets really good. Yeah, I was so shocked. I literally slipped as a podcaster, and I mean, like, you can say that word, it's whatever. But yeah, I just didn't even think about it until afterwards because I was just so shocked. I was like, what? I thought it was gonna be an easy Nathan vote out. But okay. So we got a couple more minutes here, and then I'll have to log out because I gotta go enjoy lunch and dinner with the fam for Thanksgiving. Again, happy Thanksgiving to anyone watching from the States. Oli, how is this game setting up going into the merge? We do need to talk about that. Like,
Yes.
where are the alliances? Because we've had a couple tribe swaps now. This is where it gets interesting. Do we see Tanuke, Matthew, and Leilani bring in Nathan? Do we see Doug and Pegleg go back with like Lee, Hannah, the Lanena tribe? How do you see this playing out? And a bonus question, who are the wild cards? Who are the people who they don't really have a home and they are going to be fun to watch?
So I definitely think that Nathan is going to go back and it's going to be Nathan, Tanuke, Leilani, and Matt. I feel like they're going to be a 4. I definitely see Pegleg going back to Lee and Hannah. And I feel like they'll be a 3 with kind of Doug their thinking. I'm interested. My wild cards are actually Chris and Ashley.
Oh my gosh, we literally agreed. Other than, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off again.
No, you're fine.
We literally agree. I was thinking in my head, I was thinking Chris and Ashley are going to be very fun to watch. I was also thinking Lawrence and Doug. Yeah. Because I could see Doug going with Nathan.
Yeah, this is the thing. I feel like Doug will be able, I think regardless, Doug will be able to get in the majority. This is my thing with Ashley and Christopher, because we had a confessional from Ashley after the argument that we spoke about earlier, which I just need to get it up. And I feel like she was very spot on. I can't remember if I actually talked about it, but I've lost it. No, I didn't. But she basically, her confessional after that fight, in my opinion, was so spot on about them two. And I think it was foreshadowing a Christopher versus Lee. Because I don't see Christopher wanting to go back to Lanena, knowing that he's just had that fight with Lee and he won't be high on the pecking order. So I see Christopher looking at his options and going, can I flip to Calaton and get a majority there? On the flip side, that could also be Lee going to Calaton and being like, let's all go for a common enemy in Christopher. I would be very surprised if it's because they were talking about a big tribal. They were saying it was one of the biggest tribals. To me, that is Christopher versus Lee. That is just a prediction.
I could see it. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, next time on Survivor, tribal will leave you. Yeah. Oh, so, I think, and I see Lawrence. I'm very interested to see what Lawrence does. Because you were going to flip and go with Lanena, Doug, and Pegleg, and then they just flipped on you. Yeah. And I don't see Nathan bringing you back in the fold, especially when you voted it against him in that tribal council.
Yeah.
So I don't know what lies ahead for Lawrence. I think he could be the biggest outlier, and he could be like that one castaway that doesn't have a home. Because if Doug and Pegleg go back, to Lanena, I think they're just going to see Lawrence as a Calaton member. He is part of Calaton. And then the Calaton members are going to find out that Lawrence flipped, I think. And they won't want him either. I think he could be like right down the middle. No one really wants to work with him. And so it's going to be interesting to see how he could navigate the post-merge. He could be the first one out, like an easy vote.
That's what I was going to say. I think if there is anything for Lawrence, I was going to say I could see him being the person that if both sides didn't want to go at odds yet and they went, let's go for a common person, I think Lawrence could be that person. Or it could be, right, let's see what we can use with Lawrence and go from there. But I feel like if it was anything, it'd be more of the first one. But time will tell when we see the episodes on the weekend, which I'm so excited for.
I will say this. I've been enjoying Survivor UK, but after this week, and it's been like the first week, I was excited. Ollie, Matthew, and I, we were talking, oh, it's almost here. It's almost here. Just have a new Survivor. And then you saw it was going to be a very baseline like type thing for a little bit. They were going to introduce people. So I wasn't like, it became more of like, well, I got to watch Survivor UK for the recap and stuff like that, but I'm still enjoying. I don't want you guys to hear this and be like, oh, he hated it. No, I didn't hate it. It's just, I wasn't like super, super pumped. It was like, once I get to watching it, I'll watch it. And then it's been like that for a couple weeks. And then this week leaves me like, I am excited. Like as soon as Saturday comes around, I am tuning in because I need to see the fallout from this. And I'm not talking just episode 8. I was excited I'm not just talking after episode 8. I saw episode 7 and I immediately watched episode 8 right after because I was like, I got to see this. And so this weekend, I feel like Survivor finally started. The strategy started. The backstabbing started. We've kind of been playing this nice, oh, let's all vote together. We're all friends. And it started this week, and I cannot wait. Ollie, I hope they go at it in Tribal Council. You got me.
I hope so. I hope so. I want there to be explosions. I finally want to see a Tribal Council that everyone is like, right, we're hashing this out now. I'm calling you out on this. That's why
I want someone to get in the middle. I would love to see like Lee stand up to like be like, no, this is how it's going to be. And then someone's like, Lee, I want a proper like Survivor argument. I want it to go down as like very memorable. But if you guys enjoyed the podcast today, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. You can check out all of our content at survivornowpodcast.com. Make sure to check us out on Instagram at Survivor Now Podcast or on X at Survivor Now Pod. Check us out on Spotify. Leave us a rating. I think I pretty much hit everything. Ollie is not done with Survivor coverage this week. You can check him out on Sunday's episode of Got Something For You. You got to watch that episode first, Ollie. You got to check it out first.
I'm watching it later, don't you worry.
Happy Thanksgiving to all who celebrate, and we will catch you next time for more Survivor UK action.